Hello and welcome to the Late Apex. This week we are discussing the big development updates from iRacing as well as updates when it comes to RaceRoom and when it comes to Automobilista as well. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is David Sampson. David, how are you?
Very good. Excited about the iRacing development update. I remember a time we were just in the dark until the day, and it felt like we got teasers or rumors, but it's nice now that they explain to us what's coming, what's here. And I feel all the competition over the last year, they've been stepping things up. Like rain felt like a big jump, but it just feels like now we're getting the things that they were delaying sort of. Like, obviously we're going to talk about it, but an Acura GT3, like where on earth did that come from? So it's nice. We're hearing lots. Yeah, we've got lots of exciting things to chat about today.
Absolutely. Well, let's discuss the main thing, I guess. I think the thing that, from what I've seen, is the element that people are most excited about, and that is the Ferrari 499P. Not a GTP car, but is an LMH car. And of course, it's quite a big surprise, I'd say, because we've got a very good roster of GTP cars, and we're expecting that roster to continue to grow. But we've now got a first WEC-only car, and
you are right. It's not a GTP, and iRacing went out of its way to make sure, obviously it's an IMSA-based game, to class them as GTPs. So I'd be interested to see what they do with that on the class. I mean, I assume they're going to call it a GTP and just wing it. I mean, will it become a GTP if it comes to IMSA in real life?
I doubt. If it came to IMSA in real life, I mean, they wouldn't be allowed to classify it. They wouldn't be allowed to call it a GTP if.
Well, I think GTP is an all-encompassing LMH, LMDH. I think.
I guess so. I guess because LMDH is Daytona hybrid, isn't it?
Correct.
I guess GTP isn't necessarily IMSA focused, right?
But no, it was a big surprise. I mean, I'm not surprised they didn't have access to the car. I was fully aware that Le Mans Ultimate didn't own the rights to the cars, but obviously the license iRacing is putting them in is outside of the IMSA scope. Like, they've done so well. I'm not against this. I'm completely for it. But I'm just saying they ditched off ESS, ILMS died. Like, everything around GTPs is dead. The only place you can drive GTPs and iRacing is IMSA, and you know, they have a close spot. I think, was it NASCAR own IMSA, and in NASCAR it basically is iRacing. It's a nice surprise, a very nice surprise. I'm going to be interested to see what they do with the deployment, because, I mean, our deployment is completely fantasy land. Like, what we have in iRacing is nothing like real life. Like, it's at all nothing like real life. And now we've got a LMH landing. I'm interested to see what they do. I suspect nothing. And that's why we have the fantasy boost system, so that they can be like, yeah, like, we'll let both use it.
Yeah. We had to make a compromise in order to. Yeah.
Like, if we're allowed these cars now, that means we're going to be getting the what's it called? What's the one without the battery? Perhaps chat knows.
But yeah, no, you're right in terms of like the other cars, like the Peugeot, if they're staying in it, the Alpine, and all the other LMHs, all of a sudden are maybe on the cards for being added.
Yeah, I say, I knew Motorsport Games didn't own the rights to have them. I mean, they did in a sense. If you wanted to use them for a WEC championship, they own the cars. But I was just assumed IMSA was so close. Like, but yeah, it's great. It's going to be a fantastic car. It's a big roster. It's a lot of cars now. I remember when.
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Like 7 or 8, and that it stayed the same
now?
for a while.
And now it just doesn't seem to stop going up.
No.
I'm really excited about this car. They're also adding we might as well mention it here while we're talking about this car, the bump sound. The sound from the transition from electrical to engine. I can't think of the word, sorry.
We can probably play it.
Oh, yes. I don't hear it. Hopefully,
well, I hope the viewers can hear that. I can't hear that. I'm not entirely sure why. But there you go. That was either silence or
I'll,
the
I'll,
bump
I'll
start.
check. I'll check my end
But
as well.
it sounds cool. But yeah, that would be a nice addition as well. There was also another little like Ferrari element that was. I think I heard that.
Yeah, I'll play it just in case.
Sure.
Just in case your web page was playing up. So here we go. Here's the sound. Oh, I even just went. That is going to sound so cool when you've just done your pit stop and you're coming out and everyone around you is also as well. That's going to be quite the sound to get the adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bump start, that's coming. But yeah, again, if the bump start's coming, are we getting the proper deployment? If they're changing things, I don't know if they're just making a sound file. Like, yeah, I'm really interested to see. Because, like, are you burning fuel when you're running the electrical bit out of pit? So are you running down pit lane not burning fuel now, or are iRacing just going to stick to fantasy?
Yeah, and I mean their fuel burning system has always been very basic in terms of if you apply 100% throttle, that's so much amount of your like short shifting and stuff like that. There isn't a whole lot of intricacy to it. So yeah, they would need to change it so that it's not just.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I will say, like, I give them a hard time about the GTP deployments, but I've also done a lot of LMU, and it does feel like you need 4 scientists and a maths degree to finish the race, because you've got all these gauges and numbers and deploy. Yeah, you have deployment modes, but they really matter, because otherwise, if you run out of virtual energy, you get disqualified.
Sure.
Because you run out of the virtual bopped fuel. So I get it, but also, iRacing is about realism.
One of the sentences that they put further down in the post, which I didn't notice actually, but Luca Monroe from Overtake did notice it, was further collaborations are also underway with Ferrari. Now, I didn't think too much of that when I first read it, but Luca made the very good point that what does that mean? Because there's barely any other Ferraris in sports car racing. We've got the GT3.
We've got the Ferrari fixed.
We've got the
Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah, we've got the 296 basically. We've now got the GTP. What other stuff is there? So he came up with a few different ideas. One was past F1 cars, which would be pretty amazing. Early 2000s Ferrari would be phenomenal. There is another 296. There's a 296 Challenge car, which has its own like regional championships, which has a bit more power but a bit less downforce. So could be that. And then the third idea, which was a bit of a wild card, was IVRA being added, Ferrari's test track, which they own.
So he didn't mention about the modern F1 car like we have the Mercedes.
I think he included that, but I disregarded
yeah,
that straight away because
that's obvious.
I wouldn't want that. So of all the things that they could add, that would be the worst thing that they could add would be...
It'd be nice to now the strategies and pit stop in that car to show them it can be done. But
yeah, well, maybe that's one of the symptoms of it, that you get brain fade.
Yeah, exactly.
The car.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love an early 2000s F1 car. The 09 Williams is very good.
Still my favourite F1 game of all time was the one that had all the legacy cars. Oh my God.
F1 2013.
Yeah, that's still my favourite. Still my go-to. Because I like jumping in an old car, taking it around Monaco in the wet and realise I have no talent. And how did they do this?
So would you like something from... Would you like a V12 from the early 90s?
Of course I would, but... I'm of the opinion iRacing is not good enough to handle fast cars. I still stick with it. When you're going that quick, the netcode model, I just don't enjoy it, so I don't do it. 2, people only, let's face it, sim races are a fickle bunch and they only do what is actually happening in real life. Look at GTEs. It got announced, we're not going to run GTEs for WEC next season. None of them watch WEC.
No.
Especially, pre the last couple of years. And then they all stopped driving GTE. So that's sim races.
But I think, GTE's coming back, though, a bit like it's decently popular again now. So maybe the nostalgia is strong enough that people will jump into it. Yeah, I would be down for the F2004.
I would be as well.
Added.
But yeah, I'm at the point of I don't want iRacing to get more. I want it to get focused. I don't mind adding a car to a class, fine. But adding a car for another series, please, can we just take a year off and just focus down a bit. We don't have the numbers to keep diversifying.
The next update was Acura GT3.
The NSX.
The NSX. Honda,
We should
Acura.
a vote in chat. Is it an Acura GT3 or an NSX GT3? What's your go-to word when you say the car? Because me and Sam were talking about it before the podcast.
Yeah.
Which is
And I was of the Acura.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's an NSX.
10th GT3 car. I think a little bit less of a fuss will be made about this one, especially in comparison to the McLaren. But if it's fast, people will buy it. People need to drive it.
Sure. I mean, yeah. The McLaren did very well. We might mock iRacing for waiting too long, but it must have sold well. I swear everybody has driven it. Yeah, and it's a fantastic car. We do have a lot of them now. So it is going to be interesting to see what they do with, like, for the Audi, for example. I think that's done next year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, is it done next year? I know that Audi don't have like their own teams and they have like factory teams, but I don't know. I feel like other teams can still run Audis. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Sort of on the same vein of GT3s, I believe you may know more about it than I do, but Supercars, which is the Australian division, I think they've moved more towards a GT3 model, and we're going to have the updated Supercars coming. They are the Chevy and the Ford for now.
Well, we've got Robin chat who might know more than me, especially, but I don't know about more GT3. Oh, and Zach's here as well, so we've got a lot of supercar drivers in chat. I know that they're going to have less aero, I think. Yeah, no.
Okay, I got that.
I think they're going to be a little bit harder to drive now. I think the newer models. I think there's less rear aero. But yeah, they haven't. Also, the thing we need confirming is they've always been the same car. But now I think they are fundamentally different in real life with things like the engine location and stuff. So I don't know. My supercar knowledge is not great. But I think the engine is now in different positions in the cars. I think there's less rear aero. So I'm going to be interested to see if iRacing now makes them two different cars that they have to bop. Because before they've just been, you can just load the same setup on me. They're the same car. Just
I imagine they'll be different now. You would have to think. They did say that it was a ground up rebuild, which you would expect because these cars are very different this generation. So yes, we will see what happens. Do you think that's necessary that they're different?
Again, more for iRacing just focusing down less. I think less would be more in the future. But let's see. I don't know. I wouldn't want to see the BOP ruined because series like that, they've always had a diverse following. You just drive the one you're more loyal to in real life. Like, I like that system. I sometimes wish GT3 fixed. Like at the open. But imagine GT3 fixed them not just being the same sets, but in the same car. But no, I really don't know what to do. I don't know if real life the engine location makes them fundamentally different to drive, because then which one do they pick?
Sure.
So, yeah, and if they're both happy with that, because we know Porsche. Yeah, everything has to be Porsche to Porsche. They can't ever think about it being like an Audi. What are you talking about? Whereas I think Audi and BMW couldn't care less.
The last car which was added...
This was a bit of a surprise.
Was the BMW M2 CSR. It's going to be implemented at the rookie level. It's going to be base content. And... I don't know much about this car, but to me it just looks like a GT5 car.
I think a GT5, yeah. Which the reason I'm surprised again about this is, didn't we just recently get the GR86 to be between the Mazdas and the GT4s? And it's a popular car.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this is.
Sure, yeah.
Apart from a car that hurts the GR86. I don't know. If it's slower than a GT4 and it's BMW heavy, it sounds awful. It sounds awful. I don't want to drive a car that barely moves and has just understeer. I quite like the GR86 and the Mazda, obviously, but they're fun, they're light, and they're rookie cars.
Yeah. I don't know what... I would certainly pick the MX-5 all day over anything like this. So yeah, I doubt that'll be used too much, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, it might be
Is it?
used by a lot of drivers
I assume
because
it's free.
it is base content, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how the rookie series work, but this almost seems like the MX-5 and the GR86 are sort of like the same level in terms of the rookies, whereas this is talked about by iRacing as being somewhere in between D license and rookie. So there's going to be rookie series, I think, for it, but you can do maybe a few MX-5 races and then move into that if you want something a bit quicker.
Do you remember the Renault Clio?
What?
Yeah, precisely. I don't know. They say a lot. The Renault Clio is dead.
Is that base? That's paid for though.
Is it?
Yeah, I think that's paid
I
for.
bought that.
I think you did. Sorry to say. I think that's D license. Someone
don't
is
know.
free to correct me, but yeah, I think there's a yeah. So moving on to circuits, Thruxton is finally going to be added. I think this was scanned like in 2011 or something. Maybe they've done another scan of it or bought a new scan.
I heard about this, yeah.
But it is being added. Much better than sorry,
Whoa,
it's
careful.
not necessarily better than Alton Park. I'd say it's similar level to Alton Park. Much better than Cadwell Park.
Okay, I'll allow
Is
that.
Thruxton. Cadwell is a bike circuit. And even a bike circuit, like it's like British superbikes. That's how far up that is going to go, or like Legends cars, or maybe like MX-5 racing. Thruxton at least is a proper race circuit, which you could maybe manage like GT3s around. It does host British GT, I believe, so it's a bit more of a proper race circuit. So, have you got any sentimentality to Thruxton? Have you been before?
I haven't. No, I'm a Brands Hatch kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So these others, I like Alton Park. I think it's a great track. Let's see. I don't see it joining the GT3 calendar. I mean, sim races are one thing, but GT3 driving sim races, they're a different breed entirely. They're not going to drive Thruxton. I assume it's a paid track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's done. It's like we're just too late in the life cycle for an unpopular track. I like the track, but yeah, I don't know, because if it doesn't suit the GT3 IMSA crowd, and
I mean,
it's not a
IMSA.
rookie, no,
Like,
and if it's
you
not
shouldn't put IMSA on it.
if it's not a rookie free track, then it's in a really awkward ground because it's not on the F1 list. It's not a name people know. So, I mean, yeah, Americans aren't going to know what a Thruxton is unless they add motorbikes to the game.
And if touring cars were more popular as well, if TCR was more popular,
Yeah, 100%.
that would work. But
I don't know what they ever did or what happened, or was it just the rise of GT4? But it is a shame that we can't even keep up with RaceRoom numbers for TCR. Like, it's a shame. Like, it's a great car class. It would bring to life all the tracks I'm talking down on. It would be brilliant. Yeah, Thruxton, all these tracks would be epic. A proper championship. I don't know why they don't push it more. Yeah. I think they did hurt the car maybe a year and a half ago. I remember a lot of negativity about the car, but I didn't really drive it, so I didn't pay attention. But then I just remember it just dying, and I was shocked.
Well, I think the only BTCC circuit that still needs to be added now is Croft. So hopefully BTCC will, I don't know, set up a championship or something, because, yeah, we are not far away. And I think, I'm not sure if they've talked about Crofts being added. That is one of the ones that definitely was scanned back in 2011. But again, they've done nothing with it since. Hussett Speedway was added. I don't know, it's a 3/8 dirt oval.
Cool.
And New Hampshire is being rescanned. Now, usually that wouldn't matter. However, New Hampshire has the greatest roval circuit of all time. Do you know the New Hampshire roval?
Nope.
It's really good. New Hampshire. Just the track map will demonstrate why this circuit's so good.
I haven't actually driven on a roval in a while.
Out of the
Wait, what?
track. Brilliant.
Just heads off down the road.
Yeah. Carousel is like a 20-degree, maybe not 20-degree, 10-degree banked left-hander, and it's just, yeah, a really good circuit. So for that purpose alone, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
If you own the previous New Hampshire, which of course you do because you got the 100%, and I do because the roval, you will get it for free. And this is part of what they're doing, iRacing, at rescanning all the NASCAR circuits, because obviously some of them are over a decade old. I'm not sure what Zach is saying is the great track. I'm not sure if he means Duxton, New Hampshire. I don't think he means Hussets. Yeah, if he means New Hampshire, I totally agree.
He will mean Husset.
Oh,
Yeah, nailed it.
Oh, really?
He's
oh, wow.
a dirt goblin. Yeah, he does a lot of dirt.
Someone's got to buy it, eh?
He's 5k dirt. I think I've tried it twice, and I see a corner. I'm like, oh, I do that, and then nothing happened. I just understeer into water.
What were you driving? The street stocks?
Years ago, mate. I have no idea. Dirt 2.0. I'm like Colin McRae.
Yeah.
iRacing dirt. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Sure.
At all. On the subject of dirt, so we are getting better dirt and gravel rendering, dynamic track. I remember them talking about this for a while. They've been unhappy with the evolution of the track and the visuals, and they've been putting a lot of time and work to it. Will we see rain? I mean, I assume these guys race on rain. It's dirt, surely.
Yeah.
So maybe Zach in chat can enlighten us what the rules are in the IRL races. But yeah, this might be trying to inject some life into dirt and gravel. I really don't know much about dirt.
I think, yeah, it's partially partly the roval stuff, but then I think also, I assume this will be implemented for the road circuits as well, in terms of like gravel coming onto the circuit and dirt coming onto the circuit and changing those elements. Apparently that hasn't been changed for a while. It was adjusted for rain, but weren't many adjustments before that. One of the interesting bits was debris.
Yeah, I heard about this.
They are going to basically put debris onto circuits where there should be debris. So they use the example of the Mulsanne Straight. Either side of the Mulsanne Straight, there's going to be a lot of debris sort of on the red parts of the circuit. And at the moment, you can just freely drive onto that absolutely fine, whereas now there's going to be shards and whatever on there. And yeah, that will deter people from using it.
Because they're adding punches.
Yes.
That's insane.
Not soon, but they are working on it.
How can we not have flat spots? But they're talking about punches.
Well, they're talking about flat spots as well, right? Maybe it will come in one thing, I don't know. But
I hate the idea of punches because I'm going to get a netcode punch where I miss the debris and the debris decides I hit your tyre. Won't be any rain, otherwise there'll be rain at every spot. Okay, so no rain and dirt. There you go. But yeah, I don't like the idea of punches. Like we have enough mechanical failures with DDs and pedals and.
They would need to have safety cars. That would necessitate safety cars if you were going to implement that, because it would be unfair. I think if you had debris and then it goes away once no one can see it, like the current system is, that debris I think would have to stay on the circuit and then it needs to be cleared away.
I can't see it happening, mate.
No? You don't think safety cars?
No, I can't see it happening. No.
But I would be really annoyed if I was, say, if there was a crash in front of me and 10 seconds after I arrived on it, I drove us over some debris, got a puncture, and then the guy behind me, 5 seconds behind, by the time he comes around, it's magically disappeared.
Yeah.
And he's just got a completely clear circuit, and he just drives through it as though it's nothing.
We're not getting... You're telling me next they'll implement that you have to slow for yellows, mate. You're talking madness. You're talking madness. Yellow means freebie coming up, keep it flat.
Yeah.
So they're not going to change that. And blue doesn't mean get out of my way. Blue means there's a missile behind you. Careful.
I'm open to debris punctures. I can see it getting annoying, but I think it's one of those elements in. Well, I think one of the things why sim racing isn't as popular at the pro level as real life racing is because F1, for example, is good when you've got random stuff happening. When you got rain coming down, when you got safety cars, when you got red flags, when you got like unpredictable stuff happening. And I think that unpredictability of rain, of rain is part of it, but also of debris and those types of things.
I'm down for flat spots and debris degrading the tyre, causing performance loss. I'm down for, debris hurting the tyre carcass and flat spotting, but not meatball because of debris. No, I'm not doing it.
Sure. I think most people agree with you. Certainly the pros. So we may have mentioned it before, but GTP and LMP2 are the first to get a new tyre model.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the finished V10, like they're talking about the version 10 that's coming in time, but this was certainly going to be like the big sort of FFB upgrade, degradation update, like definitely something new with the tyre model, but I don't know if it's the full V10. Like the wording wasn't clear. If like, oh, V10's coming, but oh, we've given it you early on these cars. I think it's just they've made good, significant ground on the tyre model and they want to try it out on 2 cars, I think. But yeah, it's exciting. I think it's going to give us a good understanding of where we're going to stand with the GT3 tyre model and, well, all the tyre model, but the one people care about is the GT3 one. But from what I'm reading and understanding and everything and the rumours and everything I'm hearing is that heat was the big management on pace with the tyre, and that's moving away from heat to degradation and flex and all these words like in real life that matters more on the tyre. So if you do overheat the tyre, that heat can come back off without completely ruining the tyre, like we see in most other sims. So exciting. Just hope they fix the draft in LMP2.
Sure.
Or nuke the dirty air. Like, well, don't give us the draft. You can't have it. Yeah. We can't have the old dirty air from the draft, but with no draft. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, that means the Ferrari GTP is going to start with the new tyre. I think it's going to be mad popular. Honestly, I really do think Daytona 24 it will be red.
Yep. The element. Well, I read the whole thing. You can read the iRacing development update. Just search for it, and it'll come up. And they just go on about better feeling, and it all just seems fairly wishy-washy. But I guess that's what they got to say in terms of like it will. This is what they say. They feel more like real tires. Whenever you first load them, they respond quickly. As you sustain loads, they soften up, and you can lean on them. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition.
Well, yeah. For everything I say positive about iRacing, I've always felt the tires don't feel like rubber. Whenever I fire Bar Factor 2 on them, they feel rubbery. Hell, even ACC, I'm not the hugest fan of the over detail. They still feel quite rubbery. In iRacing, they feel like hot plates, and your job is to not slide them too much because they get really hot. Yeah, so it would be nice to feel that flex and the tire. For me, it would just be nice. But I think a lot of that is the force feedback model as well. It's not all, I can't just blame all the tire. It's our sensation of it as well. Like this more feel, they keep saying more feel. Does that mean they're going to bring us proper 360 hertz? Not that we have to add a wheelbase at a time and not be 360 and just add delay. Are we getting proper 360? Because I've seen a lot of people getting confused. Like people saying, oh, the VRS is now going to support 360. Well, it always has. It handles 480 just fine on other games. Like it's not, if we're talking about iRacing, that we're talking about the hacky lag system where you wait for 5 milliseconds to collect 560 packets, then you put them together and then you send that to the human. That's not 360 to me. That's just, yeah, it's a mess.
So one of the graphics updates was improvement in the specular lighting model.
That is how light bounces off other objects. So in real life, when a light's emitted on something, it reflects out light and based on its color. So light just keeps bouncing around. We see this in when you drive at night in iRacing. Your side screens are just off. Any other sim, especially using Unreal Engine or anything, it's not like that at all. Much like in real life, things have illumination from the smallest things. Like, oh yeah, iRacing had the moon. If we have the moon in iRacing, nighttime also gets a bit brighter. Anyway, another subject. But yeah, I think the lighting update is really, really good. I don't really love their examples personally, but I understand what they're doing, and it is going to cost you about 25 FPS.
Sure.
It's not ray tracing, but it's they're just letting light bump off more surfaces and tracking its location, and it's going to look good. It's going to look a little bit more modern. Actually, I don't know if you've mentioned it. Oh, you have mentioned it, and we are getting to it. Talking of not looking modern, I am trying to be polite, but I cannot stand this new UI. I cannot stand it.
It's not great, is it? They really talk up just how much time it has taken for them to work on this.
Surely not.
But it's so similar to the old one in terms of, I mean, pretty much everything's the same, besides the fact that it just looks a bit more opaque in my mind. But like, if you're driving with like the screenshot above, that's going to be so invasive in terms of what you can actually see when you got all that stuff up.
Yeah, it's poorly spaced, man. Like, there's a lot of problems here. Like, I can already see, what are who's clicking these while driving? Are you mad? They're small and they're next to each other, and I'm driving a car, so I don't understand that. And because of these damn things, we have to have the title. It's now telling me what this is. Thank you. I'm aware. So it's very poorly space managed. All of these are very poorly space managed, which like this has a title. Please get rid of the title. We don't. Even voice chat. I understand that someone talking to me is voice chat. I hope we can turn titles off. Like, you can't have sector in a title. If I want my sector and my delta next year, 50% of it's taken up by titles and borders and rounded, and all of it's very, very dated. I don't know if they started a long time ago, but this design language, with all being 3D and rounded, died, I don't know, a decade ago. So it's a shame to see. But yeah, some of them, like Sam just mentioned, this here is just the current one we have, dark mode, with a title and a big fat border. This is taking up more room, and like Sam said, it's completely opaque. Opaque? That means no transparency, right? Yeah. Completely opaque. I am not a fan. Everything feels... I mean, where's the settings page? Is that here?
Did they even include that?
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's not good.
Look how much less we see. I can see usually the whole settings. This is a scroll bar, I assume. I have to scroll down. So now...
Yeah, I mean, you're halfway... You're shooting about half of it, you can see from the scroll.
Whereas currently we see it all.
Yeah.
Currently we see it all. Again, we've got a teeny little cross. I don't understand. There's too much space given for notes. I mean, unless there's an essay. Again, it just looks like dark mode and poorly space managed. That's the theme over and over again. Poor space management and dark mode. This looks good, though. This is part of that lighting. Looks like it's going to be good. You can see the difference here in the lighting, the specular lighting. Again, not the best examples, but I understand what they're trying to get across.
Is that the same time of day?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's very different, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. What do you think of it? I mean, this is nice. Driver in focus. But again, like all of these, are we meant to be able to click them while we're driving? Oh my God, I've just seen these are the playback controls. That takes up so much room. Yeah, I mean, I could go on for hours. It's a shame because we've waited a very long time. They've been talking about this for a very long time. And when I first saw the pictures, I was like, okay, at least they're going for it, but that's just an early release. And now a year on, we're seeing the same pictures.
I've just seen a comment from Brian saying that it looks like the UI and he doesn't like the UI. I quite like the UI. I'm fine with the UI. I know some people prefer what the website used to be, but I was all right with that. And honestly, I'm not particularly fussy when it comes out. I know when Discord changed their font every 2 years, there's like a week of people saying this is the worst thing that's ever happened. And I honestly just don't notice when it first comes up. So I'll just... It's not a big thing for me personally, but I understand that it does seem objectively worse than what it was before, with not really any positives.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, we're going to be forced... Well, no, technically we should be able to turn them all off, right? And still use third-party overlays like everyone does. And I don't see a fuel calc. If they're wanting me to just tick that auto fuel and trust them, it's never happening. It's never happening.
So the other one of the other elements that they have developed is I read this the first time and I made a few notes, so correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. But they created a program basically to make it easier for their vehicle dynamics engineers who have worked on real life cars in the past. Currently, it takes a lot of time for them to learn programming and get used to that side of things, whereas the new system that they got in place will basically speed up that and make it much more intuitive for someone who's not a
Yeah,
programmer.
it's empowering their skills to be useful rather than making them learn something and adapt to something. They know what they know. They should be empowered to put this into the system and use their skill set to help. But yeah, you're 100% right. Modeling cars going forward, scans going forward, everything developing going forward should be less just programming code and data focused and more giving the tools to the people that need them based on their skills without having to teach them rudimentary skills and not getting the best out of people. But yeah, it's good to hear they've been working on the background because we already have so much scan. Like you almost feel like they don't need to, but we never know what's around the corner, right? I mean, we assumed GTE would last forever.
They are going to enable saving your race midway through. That's
wonder where they got that idea from.
Well, I think it's going to be necessary when they bring in career mode. And if you're, say, doing a season of WEC, you're going to need to save a race halfway through. So that's probably quite a basic thing that they're going to add. And about time. Of course, as David was alluding to, LMU have also announced that they're going to be adding that. And they confirmed the circuits that they're currently working on. Miami, Adelaide, and Portland. I wasn't aware that Portland was being worked on. Maybe I missed that in a previous one, but I hadn't heard that one before. I'd heard the other two.
No.
But not Portland.
I hadn't heard at all. And Miami didn't get confirmed, right? We saw it in the pictures.
It wasn't it like a few weeks ago there was something about how we're adding a US F1 circuit, and it was like, well, we've got COTA, it's not going to be Vegas, so it's got to be Miami. Yeah,
what I mean is it's almost like they haven't got permission yet because we've seen the picture. They've called it a US F1 track that was obvious to guess, and we saw like a 3D rendered scan, like I think, and we could see it's Miami. But yeah, it's exciting to see. I never expected that. I mean, if we're getting Miami, Monaco's not off the cards. That's how I feel. I thought Miami completely off the cards. I really did.
Miami's just a car park.
Yeah, but it's money. It's just money. It's a pure. I mean, it's got to be one of the most expensive tracks there is. I mean, it's.
You think Miami's expensive? I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's F1. You know, whether F1's involved. That's why we never got Monaco, right? That's why no game has Monaco. Why it's called weird names in other games.
I think a big reason why iRacing haven't got it is because of the complexity of the surrounding circuit. Like, there's so much detail they'd have to put in. That's why they didn't have Long Beach for 10 years. They only developed Long Beach during lockdown because they had nothing else to do. But maybe you're right. I'm not an expert on that. But yeah, I'm not particularly excited about Miami. Adelaide will be all right, but I don't think it'll be particularly popular. And Portland's amazing that hasn't been added yet. Like, that's a stalwart of IndyCar, and yet it's not been added for ages. So
we brushed over it rather quickly. But career mode, what are you expecting? Do you think it would be any good? Because they've got the AI now. Not that any of us use it, but I can see them doing championships and IMSA events and maybe even multiplayer, hopefully, in some regard, in the sense of like
co-op.
Yeah, exactly. Or even competing for championship points, but in separate races with the same AI setting, sort of thing. I'm not sure. Be interesting to see though. Like, could we see an endurance on? You know, are they going to put 1 hour, 2 hour endurance as part of the career mode where you have to compete and earn iRacing credits?
I think, maybe. I think, I doubt there's going to be a whole sense of development when it comes to it, or a whole sense of progress when it comes to it. One of the things that you would think might be the case is that you start off in an MX-5 and then you build your way up to a GT3, and then you eventually win the F1 World Championship. I'm not sure if they're going to necessarily go down that routes.
Are you
or
going
if
to get emails and you sign from Audi to Ferrari GT3?
Yeah, like stuff like that is like not going to be in it.
You think it's just, here's a championship
it's-
you've been entered in?
Exactly. I think here is, the World Championship of Endurance Racing.
Yeah.
Like whatever they're going to name it. Here are the rounds. Sign up to that. And maybe you've got consistent drivers in each of them. And you've got a championship which lasts over across. But yeah, I doubt it's going to be you're unlocking cars, you're buying. And that's when a career mode is good, right? When you can't do something initially, you have to win something first to unlock the next thing.
So
I think on iRacing it'll just be open for everyone.
Career mode bypass what you own and you get to career anything? Or do you think it's purchase content? Are they really going to be like...
Yeah, it'll be purchase. Because even the way that iRacing... yeah. I guess you download the cars anyway, don't you?
Correct, yeah. I mean, it just feels a bit numb, right? Like, are they going to charge the rookies that come into iRacing to do a career mode? Or is it only free content? Because GT3s are expensive, right? Are they really going to charge for all the track? Like, what I'm saying is that it lays out the GT3 season from you. You've just come from Mazdas. You've been doing a lot of online, and now you want to do a championship mode in GT3s. Are you going to have to buy all the tracks and pick a GT3 car to buy? And
I think that'll be...
Yikes.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what a lot of people have been calling for a very long time. Let us try the content. Like, maybe not competing in officials, but, let us try the content. But, I mean, they're so strict with it that when a new car comes out, you can't even try it in the test drive when iRacing goes down for a couple of seasons. They withhold the new content. Not sure why.
I think that's all iRacing covered.
The only thing I want to cover is probably the biggest subject. And that isn't what's here, but what's coming on the...
Oh, I pretty much... Yeah, I didn't look at this too much.
Yeah, so this is the thing everyone's waiting for. Obviously, we're getting part of it in the LMP2s and GTPs next season. I think we're really just getting... they haven't listed, but we're getting, what did they say? Better feeling and better degradation, basically. So I think we're getting a part of this on the LMP2 and GTPs, but the full one, like we alluded to, will not be heat based, will be more contact based. They're looking at better FFB, a whole new contact patch modeling, tire shape, how it stretches, how it flexes, different grip. The grip will be different based on how you load up the tire. It sounds good. It sounds, I mean, this is the bit we were waiting for, because at the moment, essentially iRacing's modelled around heat and not degradation. So it would be nice if we can blow a corner, get that back, and it not ruin our race. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
And add flat spots, please.
Yeah.
I'd like flat spots to be added. I really would. Because if someone's aggressive, lunges you down the inside, you give them space, let them go for the corner, knowing or hoping or praying that there's a 6% chance they're done, mate. You are toast. You got me, and the rest of the race you're slow. It'd be quite cool.
As long as you're going to need to make sure that you have your force feedback strength.
I know, it's insane.
Turned up or down.
LMU's information is ridiculous.
Well, I think of the IndyCar on iRacing is already, the force feedback is stronger on the straights than it is on the corners, because it will you basically have to adjust it so that it doesn't shake in your hands when you're going down the straights. If you add a flat spot into that, it's going to be absolutely wild. So yeah, you can turn it down on the go in iRacing, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it's going to need to be a button that is mapped.
Yes, I agree. All right, moving on. We have covered, I think, everything from the iRacing development update, and it is excited. I'm really excited to see the NSX and the Ferrari GTP. The new tracks, we'll see. It's very difficult, I think, for a track to break through nowadays. Yeah, it's been a while, unless it's a big... Maybe I can see Miami, because people want to...
I don't think Miami will do anything. It's not used in real-life motorsport. It's quite a bad track, in my opinion. And it's got a bad rep, right? All the rich people.
Oh, I do hope we get the fake water.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, because, the place is a car park for, 11 months of the year, right?
Yep.
So it's going to have to be F1, scenery, like not necessarily F1 branded, but I mean like all the stuff that they put out for Formula One,
The pools.
like the fake pools, they're gotta be there.
So good.
The banners saying £800 for a pizza.
Yep.
That's gotta be there.
Better have pepperoni.
So to be fair, the trackside scenery be pretty cool. Let's move on. Something that we didn't mention when it came to the Sim Racing Expo, but they had quite a big time at the Sim Racing Expo, was VRS. And they gave some details about a new wheel rim, which they also posted a tweet about a couple of days ago, plus their wheelbase. Let's talk about the wheel rim first, because I mentioned it. And this is basically what it looks like for now. Or this is all the details that we're getting for now.
Yeah, I mean, it feels massively 2024 over the previous one. Obviously, we don't know the price, or do you know the price?
We don't know the price yet.
Because obviously that's how you see it with what eyes is what price. Yeah, it looks a lot more modern. The old one looks like they just picked the strongest body they could find, the strongest plate they could find. Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you. The best button caps they could find, the best rotors they could find, and they were focused on utilitarian and quality, and then stopped, which is fine. That's what you get. You get awesome build quality. These buttons are ridiculously strong. Everything's very strong. Everything's very, like, it was designed to last and be strong. Utilitarian is the word I always use. What it wasn't designed to be is to try and keep up with everything that's out there. Yeah, so it's a nice shift to see. It looks much more modern, much more. It looks a lot more price effective from what I'm visualizing. But could be a really good thing for him. Let's see. I don't know what happens to the bad boy there, because it depends on the pricing.
Yeah, because we've got David was just showing the original wheel, and then this is the light wheel. But yeah, we'll see what the price is for the new one. It's not available yet to buy, but of course, you can go to vrs.racing, or if you're based in the UK, apexracingsim.com. Follow our Instagram and whatever for updates as to when that wheel rim becomes available. Yeah, it's not purchasable at the moment, but it will be in the future. The other thing that they announced was their wheelbase system. And there is some extra reading that you can check out on the VRS website in their blog section, where they go into quite a bit of depth about it. But the main thing is unlocking different levels of torque when it comes to purchasing the wheelbase. So you get the wheelbase, and depending on how much you spend on it, you unlock different levels of strength. So for $499, you can get 6 Newton meters out of the wheelbase. For $749, you can get the 20 Newton meters out of the wheelbase. And the idea behind this is that you can maybe start off with a slightly lower fee, and then as you demand more and more, you can, or if you feel like you need more strength, you can pay for a bit more and get more strength out of the wheelbase.
I'm a software developer, so it's difficult for me, because this is a very. I mean, when I heard Intel talking about this technique, I was ready to throw hands, because you're buying something from Intel, a processor, and you don't. And in the future, you have to. I get the principle behind it. You get the wheelbase for a lot cheaper than you can upgrade it. I get it, and it makes perfect sense to me. It even makes sense for importing it and exporting it out of countries, because when you declare the cost, you bypass a lot of the import taxes and stuff. So I get it. There is no negative. I'm a software developer, though, so it's just strange for me. Sure. It is a very new concept. Let's see how it goes down, because I think that's its key, is how this comes across and is sold. That's what I think the key. That's where the key lies. And that nothing gets shared in Discords that just unlocks the damn thing. Yeah, absolutely. But I believe they did cover this on their blog about security and everything. But yeah, it is such a strange concept. But I do feel like this is. I've seen a lot of marketplaces, different industries completely, going down this model. Cars, we're talking like Tesla's thinking about this, where you can get a Tesla for cheaper, and then down the line you can unlock being able to open the windows and stuff.
And of course, for the manufacturer, for like VRS, they will stand to either make no money or
Correct.
a loss from that initial purchase, but then the hoping that you will want to upgrade in future. So it's it's arguably quite a precarious thing, but yeah, I mean, people will want to upgrade as they go along. And
I mean, yeah, when you compare the max price, I mean, I've never recommended 20. It's too much. 15 is absolutely fine. Like that will get you buying a Porsche Cup in the rain, so it's absolutely fine. Obviously, we've had the Simicubes and the VRS and the Leo Bodners always offer these big numbers. So
35 you're up to now.
Yeah, 35. So you don't need to go all the way to the top, that's for sure. I would say the 11 I could live with if I had to. I mean, Porsche Cup in the rain, it's going to feel a little, I think, on the light side, trying to catch those rear kicks and everything. But I could live with it. For the most part, in a GT3, I think it'd be fine. But I've always had the big numbers. But yeah, if you said it wrong, it just rips out your hand and breaks your knuckles if you get it wrong.
Let's talk about Automobilista 2 and
yeah,
their
excited about this.
V1.6 update. This was slightly delayed, I believe, because I think basically, I don't think this has been explicitly stated, but Automobilista and RaceRoom are both trying to be releasing Lamborghinis recently, and both of them have had to delay due to, I think the way that RaceRoom put it was one of the manufacturers we've got a licensing issue with. So Lamborghini have cleared it, and it means that this can now be released. So they've got 2 DLCs. Each are $10/euros, and you got the Lamborghini Dream Pack Part 1, so there might be more Lamborghinis in future, and you got the Hypercar from WEC, albeit it's not in the 2025 WEC. You got the Huracan GT3 Evo 2, and you got the Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2. The second one is a bit more basic, but is slower as well. So yeah, Lamborghini Hypercar now in Automobilista, or coming to Automobilista.
For me, I didn't care about anything you said apart from the 1.6 because it gives us LFM. That's the thing I'm excited. 1.6 is also adds all the multiplayer stuff to get us on the low fuel motorsports platform. I'll be trying it the day it drops, jumping in some LFM officials. I'm excited to try it. I like Automobilista 2. I've just never had a reason to drive it for years. So yeah, DLCs, whatever. I haven't bought anything in Automobilista 2 in absolutely decades, but the 1.6 update I'm really excited about. I've already seen a lot of content creators trying it out with early access to explain everything. But yeah, all new physics update on the tyres as well, brand new tyre model. It's going to be a lot more. Yeah, everything I'm excited about is bundled in this 1.6 update. And I know nothing about any of the previous Automobilista updates because there's nothing for me to do. I'm probably running 0.8. I say I don't care. Don't know what cars I own. Haven't tried it in forever, but I like the game. It's really pretty. It runs well. I wasn't the biggest fan of the tyres, but everything I've been hearing from like Niels and everyone who's been reviewing it over the last couple of days, 1.6 seems exciting. And as I say, we've covered it on here how many times about the low fuel motorsports. When it got announced, it seems to have been delayed a quite time. It looks like it's been tied up inside this Lambo issue. It got caught up in the same update, which is a shame, but exciting to see. But yeah, so yeah, I can't wait for everyone to be trying Automobilista 2 when it drops on LFM. I just hope there's Automobilista 2 players that also have been waiting. Let's see, because I don't know if they can pull like what ACC did. So
yeah, I will just say as well that there's also the Endurance Pack Part 2, which has the Alpine LMH, Oreca and Ligier LMP2s. The Audi GT3, but not the V2, the V1, and the Corvette GT3 as well is being added. And there's a few free cars as well.
Nice. So we might as well cover then a quick jump to RaceRoom, because in that debate that Sam was just covering, that they've also got their update coming out, the DTM 2024 pack, which, as we know, DTM nowadays is just GT3s. And they also have the Lamborghini Evo 2, but they've also got the McLaren 720S coming and the new scan of ZAM4 and all the 2024 liveries for the current cars. So it's just a refresher for this. And if there's going to be an update to RaceRoom, DTM is, I feel, what it's about, right? That's its bread and butter. That's what it's all for. Because I say they still, it's something I don't want them to lose. I want to keep pushing strong because we still have the DTM Esports Championship that comes around every now and then, so every year I suppose. I like RaceRoom. It's just not for me. It's not an LFM.
Yeah. More, well, I was going to say more AC Evo details, but this is another thing actually from the Sim Racing Expo, which Traction made an article on, and I hadn't seen it before, so it was quite interesting. Marco Mazzaruto at the Sim Racing Expo, along with some of the other AC Evo developers, stated some elements about the career mode. And one of the statements that he said was they wanted it to be the RPG of the petrol heads. And there's a few details stated. No microtransactions in AC Evo career mode, but there will be an in-game currency to buy new cars and get updates to your existing cars.
Because I heard them talking about this first. They really are going after the GT7 model, aren't they? That's the one they've picked.
Yeah. I guess Forza sort of falls into. I haven't played Forza much, but I guess they're sort of similar. Right?
Let's see. As long as it's, I don't mind all of this being in a game as long as it also has because they call them daily races, which is fine. I can live with that. But again, it sounds very, very GT7. But yeah, the free roam, the dailies, and the RPG style career mode. Let's see. They're obviously going to go for it. They've been working hard in this game. I like the idea of no microtransactions. I don't mind in-game currencies as long as it's not too grindy like GT7. I can't be bothered to race a series 30 times to unlock a new car.
I think that's what this will be.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be taking part in races in order to get money and buy cars.
Yeah, as long as it's not too ridiculous and it is about the fun, not just about redoing races constantly for cash, then yeah, I'm all for it. I've heard they're doing upgrades on cars and the engines. Let's see. I've been calling for a proper GT7 on PC that works with sim rigs and like not just controller based. So this is answering that. I'm just praying they push the competitive side. I really, really do. I hope they take their dailies seriously. We'll see.
Early next year, will be the beta released. Albeit will be longer before the game is fully formed. iRacing Fuji 8 Hours is coming up. You did it last year.
I did.
And you hated it. Are you doing it this year?
I am.
Why?
We're going to try and do less bad.
Okay. You got something to prove?
No, just less bad. Not good. Let's see. We just want the challenge. Yeah, I mean, Fuji's not a track I love. I don't hate it. GT3s aren't cars I love. I sort of hate them. So I figured this is quite a challenge.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How many are you doing it in a pair?
Yep, me and Brian, who was in chat earlier, we're doing it. We did it last year as well. But yeah, the second bop just dropped. It looks like a pretty good bop, unless you wanted to drive the Ford or the McLaren. But I think the McLaren will still be strong. But yeah, the bop looks pretty good. I think it's going to come down to what you know and your fuel, because I think there will be a splash to avoid. I think I saw the Apex boys talking about it. I don't know what teams.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the teams are, but yeah, I'm sure a few of them will be taking part from the academy.
Have you done this event before? Or when Suzuka got pulled, did you promise never to?
I don't think I even did Suzuka either, honestly.
Oh.
I did, yeah, I mean, special events haven't really been a big thing for me over the last few years, so, yeah, I mean, obviously, Sebring, Daytona, Petit, Watkins, Nords, Spa, done all of them, but yeah, I think when Suzuka was added, in 2020, 2019 maybe?
Sure.
I don't think I did any of them. And yeah, I wouldn't want to do Fuji. I dislike Fuji quite a bit. And also, it's just tough. It's a tough event when you got that many GT3s. It's a bit like Spa. Spa is underrated in terms of how tricky it is to win.
Yeah,
because you've got over 50 opponents to beat. I mean, it's different when you're in a Road Atlanta or like Petit Le Mans, where you got 15 cars to beat. this one
100%.
is much tougher.
It is brutal, yeah. And the pit lane's nasty.
Sure,
Like, I haven't done one of these pits in a year. So I'm going to leave it to the last minute, a couple of practice runs, and I'll be fine.
Sure.
That's going to come back to bite me.
Update when it comes to Apex Racing Team. Good result in the GTP class in the first round of IVRA, which was at the weekend. So congratulations to them. 11th in GT3 Pro, but yeah, runners-up in GTP. So congratulations to those guys. And also in the IndyCar Pro Series, had a couple of DNFs for a couple of our drivers. Dan was involved in an incident, but 7th for Luke and 10th for Peter Bowman at Milwaukee. The guys aren't big fans of the ovals. It's a bit of a lottery when it comes to the ovals, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
They're much bigger fans of the road course, as Luke demonstrates when he won at Barber earlier on in the season. But yeah, decent points for them as they try to challenge Team Redline in the championship.
I never get to see this. It's always just way past my bedtime.
It's like 1 in the midnight, 1 in the morning, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's not good. Also, just I mentioned earlier on that this episode is presented by SDK Gaming, and just another reminder to check out sdk-gaming.co.uk. There is, of course, live timing supplied by SDK. Of course, it's fantastic as a heads-up display for whilst you are racing, and yeah, it's just super comprehensive when it comes to a service on iRacing. It's at a very reasonable price as well. So do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk in order to get a subscription. I think they've even got a 2-week free trial as well, which you can check out. Apex Racing TV, the October highlights are out, so check out that one. We've got some good incidents. It's quite a long one, actually. There were a lot of good moments. This was a good moment that happened earlier this week, which I've sort of forgotten. Oh, no, yeah, this is good. I haven't got any sound for some reason.
I can show you if you want. It's no worries.
Sure.
1 second. You want him? Energy suppliers don't want us to know about this trick.
And then you see Santa Claus.
Yeah. Here we go.
Apex Racing TV over the next few
So
weeks.
this was
Here
the
we go
Radical
then.
Esports Cup. This is an official series.
Spot again. Is Castro going to be able to do anything? Are we about
And this
to
is
go
on the
through
last
right
lap.
into the chicane?
That late was that move was late, wasn't it?
It was Castro.
Oh,
and, a spin
and
there for
Karma.
Friedrich,
And the top two
Caruso as they
went
smash
out.
into the barriers.
Third place went
And
through.
that's what we were
His
hoping
patience
and
was
praying would
rewarded.
happen, and it has happened on this final.
And it was actually, it was actually the second place driver's fault. He hit the leader, and third place just drove straight through.
Okay.
So
Was that a late defend? Did it even come up? So look.
Going for that number one
I
spot
think it was late, yeah.
Is Castro going to be able to do anything? Are we about to go?
Yeah, yeah, he reacted. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, then he flashes. I think this all.
And then he takes too much speed into the chicane, and it's difficult to see from this replay, but he hits the leader.
Yeah, that was reacting.
Yeah,
100%. Because he was moving the other way. Carlton was like, no, I want that one as well. Yeah, very late.
Of course, iRacing are listening. Please fix the Watkins Glen curbs, please.
Oh, I don't even know how that track would be if it was fixed. Because in real life, they don't do that curb slap. I'm not going around
It's
it.
a different. Yeah, it's a different.
Yeah. 100%.
Isn't it?
Very different.
You wouldn't want to go around it.
No.
But like that's the corner.
No. Years of doing it that way. I'm not learning. No,
you can't just say I don't like turn 5 at Catalunya. I'm not going to respect it. I'm just going to
don't race Catalunya.
Sure. That is everything on the notes. Anything else you want to mention?
No. Obviously, make sure you check out the iRacing development update because there's lots we didn't cover and lots goes into more detail. And then obviously there's the separation between what's coming this season and what's coming in the future.
Most of the stuff in the future we've talked about on this show before, and I've seen in multiple development updates in the past, like a lot of stuff to do with career mode, to do with the new physics model that they're creating when it comes to some of the tracks, when it comes to AI and whatever.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of extra reading that you can do when it comes to the stuff which is going to be coming, not necessarily in the next 3 months to iRacing, but in 6 months, in 12 months, and beyond.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I think that is pretty much everything for us today then. We will say goodbye for now. We, of course, have got the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship coming up later on, so do tune into that. But for now, from myself, Sam, and from David, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you back next time.
Ciao.